with Mr. Elliot Levine. If you missed any of that, it was your loss. It has been truly a generation of heat and electrifying performance, and it's just been incredible here in the studios with you.
Those lights make it warmer too, but it was fun.
A lot of activity going on. Tell us what we were listening to coming out of the break there.
Okay, the tune I was hearing on the monitor was Bachalism, which was written based on a Bach prelude. The beginning or the intro of it, they played it, was taken from one of his preludes, and then I built a tune around it, and basically, okay, this mic might help. It's a lot of the changes similar to a jazz standard blue bossa, only more of a smooth jazz feel. So that was taken from there.
Yes. Current CD,
yeah.
Urban Grooves, I believe.
Right.
This is the CD that is being featured this evening. A lot of the cuts that you've heard this evening come off of Elliot Levine's Urban Grooves.
Right. That track actually I recorded maybe a few years before I released it, and it was buried somewhere in the middle of it, and then people heard it and said they liked it, so I made it the first tune, so it's more featured.
Well, what I can hear from just your performance this evening in the studios, as well as reading up on all of your music that you've recorded, you have a lot of different genres going on. I mean, Bach is a classical artist, as well as I believe you have Miles Davis as an influence, and then I recognized a song that you played earlier in the break,
Tender Love by Force MD.
Exactly, exactly. So you're very versatile.
Right, and that's actually one of my favorite tunes. When I heard it from the Smooth Grooves cassette, I said I have to put this on my my next album, and it sort of almost became like my trademark tune. It's what, when I play a gig, it's what they ask for and what's featured, and I always like playing it. It's like, unlike a lot of tunes that you get tired of playing over and over every day, this tune I haven't gotten tired of yet, so I still like playing it.
It's beautiful. And
thank you.
And in terms of, you said you were going to put that on your next CD, you have another CD in the making, don't you?
That's correct. That's more of the, I would say, more the sample type techno feel is what I'm trying to shoot for, because that's really not being done yet in jazz. In fact, at least in America. And I know that, for instance, a lot of the rock bands that are out there have a DJ in their band with a turntable, and I mean, it's almost everything that's happening now, but no one's doing that with jazz. And the strange thing is, a jazz artist really started the whole idea of having scratches and turntables.
Really?
Herbie Hancock with Rocket, if you remember that tune, was the first person to do turntable scratches, and he was established and still is as a jazz artist. But after that, which, you know, I mean, that might have been it was a while back, at least 15 years ago. But after that, it's pretty much, you know, most of the jazz people that are doing stuff are pretty much doing what was done in the 50s. And I mean, that's kind of led by Wynton Marsalis. And of course, they got chops, and it's good to listen to, and I like it, and it's valid. But the whole point of jazz is the idiom needs to keep growing and keep being influenced by what's out there today. And I hear a lot of the samples and a lot of scratch things. And I mean, that's what kids are listening, I mean, kids and everyone else is listening to them, just trying to make jazz more accessible, partly, and to actually change jazz, if that's possible.
Well, you have to keep changing in order to stay abreast, and I think that's the key or secret to success for many musicians in terms of you want to keep buying your music. Now, what we listened to earlier today, I noticed what you described as some of the scratching going on, and then we had some interesting vocals. Now, is that on Urban Grooves, or is this a sample of what's coming up?
That's a sample of what's coming up. The first tune I did, I really should mention the tunes, because people probably were viewing and said, what was that tune and what was that tune?
We want to know how to find it when you go to the music store.
Okay, I started with a tune called Trip Hop. That had like the scratching and the car samples. That's on the next one. Then I went to Urban Grooves. That was the tune that they started out with, which actually did very well on the internet. That tune, in fact, when mp3.com was starting, they featured me, and I mean, I wasn't really aware of the total potential of the internet, but the first week it was out there, they had like 10,000 people downloading the thing.
Okay, let's back up. mp3.com.
Right.
Now, what is that? Is that an internet site?
Yes, and it's almost like a revolution is the best way to describe it. It's an internet site, www.mp3.com, where the point is you can have any kind of original song, and you can upload it or transfer it to their site, and the next day it will be on there for people around the world to listen to. And they can also press CDs on demand, which is really good. And they pay the artists 50% of what they sell. So that whole idea is I can be in the studio today and I can have a CD released tomorrow. And the better thing about that is, like, they went public and they're worth $3 billion, more than RCA and BMG and all that combined. So it's sort of like it's really an exciting time to be a musician more than anything else, any other time. In fact, I wished 15 years ago it was out when I was, younger and had, more commercial potential. But either way, I mean, I'm still happy for it to be there and for me to be a part of it.
Well, sure. You're staying abreast. And in fact, I wanted you to tell the audience what mp3.com is. But I actually had my first experience in researching more about your music. And I was just amazed. You can go to the website and you can click on a tune and you can listen to that and you can purchase it. So, I mean, it's incredible how you have found these avenues, these vehicles of getting your music out there. Now, I also understand that you're a homegrown, aren't you? You're from the Maryland area.
Right. I was born in Washington and lived in Silver Spring. And, of course, this in the background, Baltimore, I lived at for 10 years. So I always feel at home when I'm in Baltimore, and this background made me feel even more at home because this was, like, right near where I lived in Baltimore. And I always feel at home in Baltimore. I mean, I live in Maryland, but Baltimore is still, still my home.
Great. Well, we want you to feel at home here at Channel 10B. We hope that you'll come back here. And before we go out, I understand you're going to be bringing in the Millennium at the Henley Park Hotel.
Right.
Is that correct? Can people still purchase tickets to be able to go or make reservations there?
You might want to call them, but I believe they might still be able to. The Henley Park is on Massachusetts Avenue and 9th Street Northwest. It's a beautiful hotel. I'm playing with Tammy Griffin, who's she's more of a mainstream jazz singer, and I'm playing on a Yamaha grand piano that is just, I think, my favorite piano in the world.
Oh,
because, I mean, it just has the feel of an incredible piano. So I look forward to that. Not only that, but I don't have to bring all my keyboards like the one sitting in front of me.
Well, you make all keyboards sing. Okay, thank you so much, Elliot, for being with us this evening.
And enjoyed playing here.
Thank you. That's been our show for you this evening. We hope to be able to do this for you on a regular basis with Fresh Flavor Entertainment and Mr. Emmanuel Yeoman and all of the artists that he represents. Thank you, and we'll see you again. Good night.